Hello? Hey, can everybody hear me all right? I'm going to need everybody to come a little bit closer to me. Hey, everybody. Steven, can you wrangle the people in the back for me, bud? Wrangle the people in the back for me, bud. No pictures, please. No. I know the food's good in the back, but please come over. Everybody good? Can everybody hear me all right? So, Patrick, who goes on first? Who goes on first? Alrighty, guys, thanks so much for coming. This is our first UGC event, our first Write Out Loud. I'm going to give it to our first speaker, Vineet. Please give him a nice little hand while he comes up here. And yeah, thank you so much.
Hey guys. Thank you so much for dropping in. Thanks, Stephen. That's a HR head, so yeah. Thank you so much for dropping in. I'm Vineet. I lead marketing for Pocket FM globally. Start off, big round of applause for everyone who's here, traveled far and wide. Really appreciate you guys coming in. For those of you who don't know Pocket FM, we are one of the world's largest audio series platform. Some of you people who don't know Pocket FM must be thinking, who listens to audio? Let me tell you, 2025, 1.4 billion minutes was consumed only on our platform. We dropped close to 450,000 hours of content just in 2025, which means if you start listening it today, you'll finish in 2027. So yeah, that's a lot of time. But yeah, it's not about us today. It's about you guys. It's about what we try to do with creators and writers like you who create fascinating stories. We all agree that there's a lot of trouble happening in the world right now, and your stories make people forget them for a few minutes or a few hours. So congratulations. Please clap for yourselves and give you a yourself pat on the back. You know, I'll just leave you with this. We're an extremely fascinating platform because when I was growing up, and that was a long time back, you know, it was difficult to imagine writing stories in India or writing stories in the US or writing stories in Africa and having your stories heard all across the world. And now with Pocket FM, that's a possibility because, you know, we have kids in Varanasi, writers in New York, and their stories are being heard in Africa, in India, in Europe, in Germany. So this is what our platform is. And today is all about you guys and celebrating all the imagination that exists in this room. So congratulations. We're happy to be here, and we're happy that you guys are making every dream that we have come true. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bring on Patrick, who leads our UGC.
Hey guys, thank you for coming. So I'm Patrick. I lead the UGC platform here. Again, well, first off, I want to do a show of hands. How many people here are writing for Pocket right now? All right. I like that, Jack. How many people are familiar with web fiction, with UGC writing platforms, that sort of stuff? Okay, great. And how many people are kind of Hollywood writers, screenplay writers, TV scripts, that sort of stuff? Awesome. So we launched the UGC platform about a year, a little bit more over a year ago. And really what we wanted to do is give an option for writers to write on their own accord, right? So sign up for the platform, start writing. You know, the value that we provide is turning that into an audio series for you. And ultimately then starting to build your own audience and earn money off of that audience that, you know, that from that successful show. No Hollywood gatekeepers, no studio notes, right? This is about you writing your story and writing your passion piece and really driving your own, like charting your own fate with what we're writing here. So we're excited to launch this as another opportunity, especially for the LA creative community that I think, you know, we'd love to offer another opportunity for you to write. for the global community that we have online right now. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for them to write for the U.S. audience, and that's exciting for us. A couple of quick things before I turn it over. There's a couple of there's lots of ways in which we can work together. There's programs in which we engage you to work for us, to write for us, to earn incentives, cash incentives, to earn revenue share. I won't go into all the details now, but there's a couple of team members around tonight. So Molly is here. She is our writer acquisition lead. She's focused on finding great writers and getting them excited about using our platform. Camille is somewhere here. She is the head of our editorial team. She is, go talk to her about your stories and how, what exciting stuff you have to bring to Pocket. Mayank is somewhere here who, there he is. He leads our product, so he can kind of walk you through what the experience looks like when you sign up and you start writing for this platform, and what that looks like for you. So please take some time to meet the team, to ask questions, talk about your stories, or talk about what you'd like to do on the platform. That would be, really exciting for us. So ultimately, we're excited to be here tonight. We're excited to have you. We are excited to have hopefully an offering in the U.S. market where writers can come and kind of chart their own fate, build their own audience, earn their own revenue on their shows. So yeah, we'll talk about a couple other things. I'm going to turn it over to Lalit, who runs the U.S. Business. He'll give a little background on Pocket FM and whatnot, and then we'll talk with some exciting writers.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I know a lot of people have traveled from far, so I really appreciate the effort. Thank you so much. And at times, like, we are generally stuck in meetings, looking at numbers, looking at dashboards, looking at revenue numbers, and at times we forget like why did we start. So meeting everyone, every writer here. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So yeah, meeting everyone here tonight sort of takes me back to the day when we started Pocket and what was our purpose. So it's tonight is all about like celebrating our writers community, celebrating the team that has created the stories which a lot of people love globally. And yeah, like it's about like sharing ideas, it's about connecting, and we want to understand the perspective, your perspective, the writer community's perspective on how can we together build this platform. So I'll talk a little bit about how we started Pocket. So Pocket started back in 2018 in India, and the idea was very simple, but the ambition was big. So we wanted to build world's biggest audio entertainment platform. And to be very honest, we are quite far from there. We have come a long way, but there's a lot of room to cover. But over the years, we have learned one thing, which is like super important. We cannot build a strong storytelling platform without a strong writers community. And yeah, the goal is simple. We want to co-produce. We just don't want to license content. We want to co-produce with the writers. And honestly, for us, it's a benefit. But for writers, it gives them an opportunity to monetize their content quickly, to produce their content using our tools, adaptation tool, production tools, and also like engage with our huge community of listeners, and like ultimately like hone your skill, monetize. We want to like remove all the middlemen, all the publishers, and you get like a big share of revenue. So talking a little more about the opportunity at Pocket right now, I think is the biggest, like the right time to start writing for Pocket FM. We are growing as we speak. So we are present in more than 10 countries, including US, UK, Germany, Canada, Australia, India, and a few more. And there are about like 200 million listeners globally on Pocket FM. And as he mentioned, there are like a lot of stories, a big community of creators who are creating content. And on top of it, like our users are like deeply engaging with the content on Pocket FM. They spend about like 1.5 hours daily on the platform. Just to put it into perspective, that's almost equal to the amount of time people spend on Netflix and YouTube. So it's a huge opportunity. People are like super engaged and they retain on the platform too. So so there are like a lot of shows on the platform which have done more than 500 million listeners globally. And the best one is of course My Empire System, and which has done yeah. So Jack is there. My Empire System has done more than 1.2 billion views, listens globally. Yeah, it has done 2 billion impressions on all the social media platforms together. And Jack is here. He has traveled all the way from China. Thank you so much, man. And he'll be speaking after me. He'll have a podcast with Patrick. So yeah, so why did I tell you this? Like our idea, our goal is very simple. We want next My Vampire System, and it could come from any one of us, right? So yeah. So just to wrap it up, Patrick is here, Molly is here. I don't know where is she, and then Camille. They are your advocates in Pocket FM. So find them, connect with them, pitch your scripts, pitch your ideas. They will get your project started. And yeah, with that, like enjoy the night. It's all about like connecting, sharing ideas, and have fun. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think Jack is. We're gonna have a fun chat with Jack. Um, just a short little chat with Jack to take you through his journey. I know I was talking to Jack earlier, and Jack said, "I'm not making enough money to be living in LA. LA is expensive." What are you talking about? So while they're setting up, guys, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them right now about the brand or about what we do. Any questions? I'm happy to take them. They'll be setting up. They'll take about 2 minutes to set up. Okay. So, can I get your name, please? Helen. Okay, guys. Yeah.
Next. So yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. I guess, really quickly, what I'd want to ask you about is, just give us a little bit of background on how you got into like web fiction and UGC writing content, and what inspired you to start writing on one of these platforms versus maybe taking a traditional route of writing?
Yeah, sure. So actually, when I grew up in the UK, I never thought I could be a writer because in the UK we have GCSEs. I got a C, which is like barely a pass. And so in my head, there was never a chance to be a writer. It just wasn't on the table. So the idea of writing a manuscript or writing and then handing it in and then getting rejected, it just felt like, well, that's of course is going to happen. I don't have any professional training. I never went to university to study how to write. And so then along comes, a few years, 21, working on a lot of comic stuff and things like that. And it's like, oh, okay, I can get my content out there faster and more broad by writing novels. Like I don't have to try. And then I could just place it on the platform and just see how it does. So I never, even putting it on the platform, I never thought like, oh, people are going to listen to the story. People are going to really like engage with it. And the great thing is it turned into a big story. Writing has now been my life for the last 6 years, being a full-time writer. It's allowed me to do everything I want to do, basically.
So I think I've heard a couple comments tonight of just people that have been able to. Thank you. I've heard a couple stories just tonight about writers that have started writing to a platform and ultimately just decided I'm going to quit my day job and write exclusively for these platforms. Was that something you had in mind, or was this a side gig? Was this something that you were just doing for creative expression, or was this something that you said, this is my path to kind of writing, and maybe traditional methods of publishing or anything wasn't really an option for you?
So I actually used to be a music teacher. So I was a full-time music teacher, and I would write in the mornings or when I got back. And it definitely started not as a side gig, because actually, like probably many of you, I didn't even know like you could make money from web fictions. It's like it's kind of a new thing, so you don't know. And the way I see it is kind of like the way YouTube was treated in the past compared to traditional media. People didn't know how it worked, how people made money, and that's kind of what the space we're in now with this media. And in a lot of ways, as you heard with the numbers, it's more popular than some traditional formats. But yeah, so I was a teacher. I was writing every day. And I remember I told myself, okay, if I make the same amount of money that I make teaching, then I can, be a full-time writer. And then I was making a lot more than what is to be a teacher. But I told myself, I need to make this money for 6 months. I can't just quit. I don't want to risk it. But then there was a moment of like, well, this is the time my book is doing really well. Maybe I should just quit and try go full time into the writing. And that was the best decision then, because I could write every day, write fully, get more engagement, focus on it. So yeah, there was that period. Yeah.
And so, obviously your stories. How many books do you have on out in the world right now?
I have about 6 books. Yeah.
So these books are wildly successful. I mean, it's obviously opened up a lot of opportunities for you. I guess what do you like about web fiction, about serialized writing, about UGC writing that maybe you prefer over traditional, publishing or other media?
Well, the thing is, actually, I'm the type of writer that can't write an entire book and then hand it in as a manuscript, because you make excuses in life as you're writing. You're like, oh, I'll start the first chapter and then I'll write next week, and then you go to the coffee shop and then you end up writing nothing, right? But the great thing about these online platforms and UGC is you see the engagement from chapter 1. So as soon as you upload the first one, you'll see the comments, you'll see how popular it does, and then you don't feel like you're writing in this void or on your own. And even before the money, because the comments and the readers actually listening to your work is what can drive you to finish that book. Whereas compared to, like you said, in traditional markets, like write a manuscript, hand it in, and then an editor or someone in charge of the company has to decide that's not popular. And just to give you an example, like my story is a vampire who fights aliens in space, which sounds absolutely crazy, right? And I think everyone would reject that. But it's been one of the most popular things of like this generation. So really, really great.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. So you know, I'd be remiss if you know, we didn't talk about this at a Pocket FM event, but then how was the experience them having my vampire system on Pocket? Like how did that accelerate things? How did that change things for you? What new did that bring to you in the show?
Yeah, so the thing was, so originally I wrote the work as a novel, and it did relatively well, so it was quite popular. But then when it moved onto Pocket, it kind of 10 times the market. There's a huge difference that I didn't realize, like why people prefer to listen to audiobooks compared to reading. And even on that side, just on its own with the marketing, like I remember seeing a video of My Vampire System in New York, driving around on the cars and stuff like that. And my dad, my friends, they've all seen they've not read my works, but they've seen the adverts, they've seen the trailers. So it's crazy and surreal to think and it's because of Pocket FM, not when I wrote the novels, that everyone's kind of seen my work. And I have a lot of German fans, you know, which is crazy to think as well. Like if it gets big enough, I'd love to go to Germany and yeah, France next, translating into French. Plans to, you know, maybe go into Japan, stuff like that. So really, really great.
Awesome. Well, I guess the other question I have, so obviously you saw like the audience here is a mix of folks that are writing for Pocket and the UGC platform, folks that are interested in it. I guess my question to you and maybe for the audience is like, what advice do you have for them? What tips would you have? What tips or tricks would you give them to say, you know, to start writing today and to be successful doing it?
Yeah, so the first thing is to know what platform you're writing for. So if you're going to write in Pocket FM, the first thing to do is download the app and listen, you know, listen to the top works, right? That gives you an idea of what people are currently enjoying. So, and I always say, if something is popular and you hate it, like you just hate the concept, then you should double read it, because you need to find out why is it popular, rather than having a personal bias against it. The other thing is, this is a new format, so it might be different to what you guys are used to. So that's why it's a good idea to also read first, and then you know, try reformat it to that sort of thing. And then lastly is basically it's that common thing of like, the great thing is you can just post it and try no matter what. I met so many people, because like I said, I never wanted to be a writer, or never dreamed, because I never thought it was possible. So there were so many people I met and they'd say, oh, I've been writing this thing on my laptop for months, and they've never posted it, right? And it's like, well, why not? Like at least post it. Maybe it becomes a big thing, and maybe it, you know, and the UGC platforms is the perfect chance to just post it, see how it does. And you can always, if it fails, I think people are scared a bit of failure. And if it fails, it's fine. Just write the next one, adjust it. You know, learn from the last book that you wrote. Why didn't it work out? You know, so yeah.
I have one kind of follow-up question to that is like, so one of the big values I think of these platforms is like the interactivity. Like how do you work with that engagement with your audience? Like how do you take in comments and feedback, and how does that, you know, improve the work or guide you in sort of what you're going to do next?
I have a good answer and a bad answer for this. So comments are great for motivation. Like I said before, it's always great to know, oh, people are reading your work and how they feel about it. But it's important to know what is genuine feedback and what is not. Not everything, you know, not everything you should take on board. I will also say, if your work ever does become popular to maybe not read the comments too much. Because just to give you my thing is always like, if you're getting 100,000 comments and 10% of them are bad, that's still like 10,000 bad comments that you're gonna have to read through, and it does, you know, take a toll. So yeah, comments are great for the start. If your work's really popular, then I'd be like, dial down a little bit on reading them. So
Yeah, fair enough. Turn off notifications, maybe, you know? Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess I have kind of one more question for you. Obviously, we're really excited to have you writing your next book for us. I guess, you know, if you could just say a bit about like what you're excited about in terms of writing a new story for us. Like, we're obviously in you know, super enthralled to have you writing. If you can give us any sneak peeks of what maybe you might be writing for us, I know that's a work in development, but just yeah, what got you excited to work to write your next story for Pocket?
I think what surprised to me with Pocket's growth is they've moved in a lot of directions. So we've talked a lot about the Pocket FM audio platform, but they also like work in Pocket Tunes, which is their comic platform. So they're moving very fast and worldwide. Like I said before, so surprised it's doing really well in Germany. So it's with my next work, because I'll be writing for it for Pocket FM. I'm interested to see like, oh, what more things we can do with it. Like not just the audio. The audio side is great. Obviously, it's the main thing. But how can we even enhance the audio version? You know, voice casting, you know, multicast voice casting, sound effects, imagery as it gets better. You know, so I'm excited because I'll be working more directly with Pocket FM, and they've said to me that they will work more directly with me. So they'll take on my feedback. They'll take on, you know, and they're planning to do that with a lot of you guys. You know, if you're writing, if your work's doing well, they want to. It's a win-win for both of you. So don't try to, you know, a lot of people see like evil publisher or something like that, but it's not that case. They want to work with you. They want to both of you to do well.
Awesome. So yes, not to turn this into a promotional thing, but as Jack said, I think one of the things that we're excited about is engaging with you as authors. We have a great editorial team. They're in the back room. You should go and chat with them and try to understand like, how can I get involved with Pocket? What sort of stories work for us, and how can my particular writing style work for them? And we're really looking to engage with the writing community and figure out how to work with you. We've got a lot of ways in which to incentivize you through, you know, through like kind of like cash bonuses, cash incentives for writing news stories for us, revenue share opportunities as your show grows. And so, yeah, we're obviously really excited to have Jack on board. Excited to see what show that we come up with this, but we also want to open it up to everyone to become that next writer, and ultimately, yeah, say, you know, I'm making more money than my day job now, and so I can finally quit my day job. But thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. We're excited to work together. Yeah, and thank you, everyone. So I think that's it for sort of like prepared stuff tonight, guys. Please mingle. Again, the back room there has our editorial team. It has our writer acquisition team. It has our product team. You can learn pretty much everything about Pocket from going to talk to them. And then, yeah, food, drink, and have fun. Thank you.
Hi, writers. I'm Lucy. I'm a senior editor at Pocket FM, and I'm here in the chat to answer your questions. I would love to hear any pitches, fun story, or character ideas you have, and any other creative questions about our process at Pocket. If I can be helpful, let me know. I'm here, and I will talk to you in the chat. Thanks. Okay, great. Okay, great. I am back and I am seeing some really good questions. I saw a question come up about the best way to edit your series to boost retention and when it's not performing well. I think the first thing I would look at there would be your cliffhangers. To me, honing in on your cliffhangers is really one of the simplest things you can do to boost retention. Make sure that you're ending every single chapter at a really exciting point where the listener absolutely has to go to the next chapter. I find sometimes when I'm reading stories that either a writer might, that usually the cliffhangers are actually there, but they might have the cliffhanger and then write a little bit past it, or they have the cliffhanger moment at the start of the next chapter. So really looking at where your cliffhanger is, and just making sure that that people can't help themselves but go to the next chapter. That's the first thing I would look at if you're looking at retention. I'm just reading some of your other questions now. If you have any questions about any pitches, let's see. I guess because I don't really see another question about writing your story or craft sort of questions. I'll dig in a little deeper to the editing piece. Obviously, because we're an audio platform, you're going to really want to lean towards dialogue. Sometimes I can actually tell when I print out, for example, if I'm reading these stories, for because I'm trying to give notes. When I see big chunks of text in a row, I kind of know that that's probably going to feel slow to the reader. It's going to feel too much like prose, like a novel. So I always recommend really leaning into the dialogue of your characters and not be afraid to lean into that. And description is wonderful, but dialogue is so much more engaging in the audio format and can really keep the story moving. I see a question about how do I make my first set of chapters interesting? Um, I like to think about who my character is and what their goal is and what their conflict is going to be. And so you can sort of think about this in sort of sets of chapters of, 10 to 20 chapters. Obviously, every character is going to have sort of their long form goal. What do they really, really want? Do they, you know, are they in love with someone? Do they want to sort of get the gal or the guy? Or do they want like victory? Or do they want to prove everyone wrong? Or, do they want revenge? These are all these things that they really, really want. And so that can really inform what their long term story is going to be. But then within that long term story, you can break it down into these sort of mini arcs and think about what each arc might look like for that character so that they can uh, sort of keep continuing towards their goal and then continue running up against all these things that get in their way. And that itself is really what's going to propel the story forward. And I talk about that a lot of what is driving your story, because really it's that drive that is pushing us from chapter to chapter. And I think that really does come down to a really strong character who has a really strong goal and really interesting obstacles that they're up against. Oh, that's a really good question. I see a question that says, when you say dialogue, does that also include inner dialogue, like thoughts as well? It's a great question. And I would say no. I like to think of the inner dialogue, I call that internality. So it's just kind of, like the character thinking a lot to themselves. And it makes a lot of sense. You've got these characters that are up against all these things and they want all these things, and they're there's a lot of inner turmoil. I think if you find you've got a place where you've got a lot of inner dialogue, push yourself to consider how you might externalize that, who you can bring in to that chapter to have that conversation with the character instead, because I think you're going to feel that is going to drive people more. They might get a little bored if they're sort of stuck in the thoughts of the main character, and it's much more interesting if instead that character has another character to sort of push all of that up against, and then that other person can respond and challenge the character, and I think that's probably more engaging. I see a comment that says, "How can you have a dialogue without emotion or feeling?" I assume this is sort of saying like you need some internal thoughts to, uh, you know, articulate what the character is feeling, and I completely agree. When I say that to lean heavily into dialogue, I don't mean um, just like complete dialogue. I think you can make sure that with each piece of dialogue you have, or not with each, but like pretty frequently. So say the conversation is two people fighting and someone is like, you know, I'm gonna do a really bad job of spitting this out, but like, someone's like, "You left me, and I loved you, and you never, I haven't seen you in 10 years, and you cut me out of your life." I think that doesn't need to all just be dialogue. It would be sort of like she took a deep breath. Uh, you know, there's two ways to show it. You can say like her heart ached, obviously, but you can also like show it externally with in terms of describing like how people are breathing, how they run their hand through their hair, like make us feel like we're feeling what they are feeling. I see one that says, "Is there an audience for thriller and suspense?" That's something we're really, really curious about right now on the platform. I personally love thriller and suspense. So it's definitely, I think we may have a contest. Maybe we finished a contest recently, but it's something that we're really, really curious about. So I say, yes, please bring it on. We would love to see your thriller and suspense stories. I think it can be challenging doing a thriller and suspense in really long form. So you really want to think hard about how that story. Well, I guess two things. One is it possible that you can create a thriller that's can go on, and also, do you want to experiment with something a little bit shorter on the platform? I'm seeing a few good questions. I'm just deciding which one to answer first. Um, I see one. Do you think listeners prefer stories that are contest based, or does it make a difference if a writer does not enter a contest for their story? Um, I I think a couple of things about that. I think we're designing contests to engage writers to write the kinds of things that we think will do well on the platform. So, but I don't think they're like that's the only thing that's going to do well on the platform. I think we were just hearing with JKS that like a very sort of surprising and interesting story really succeeded. And I just saw something else, another. Oh, I just read some Appalachian Secrets the other day. Really, really good. Talk about a thriller. I see a question. I have a successful story going on, and I also plan to write my second story. How do I go about it while keeping my successful story still going without decreasing its quality? This is an interesting one because I think I completely understand this like urge as a writer myself. I think I once heard a quote that was like, your current work is the person you come to the party to. You go to a party with your current book you're writing, and you leave. You want to leave with your new story or something. I think I'm really misquoting that, but all to say, there's always such a desire to work on something new. I personally always find that I actually think when I'm stuck a little bit on my current book is when I start, daydreaming about all the other stories I want to write. And so I challenge you to dig into that a little bit and ask yourself um, if that's one of the reasons. But also, I would encourage you to keep going, to give your current story all of the energy it deserves until you feel that you are not at a place with it where you either don't want to continue or you're ready to tie it up and move on. I would urge you to focus on the thing that you have currently given so much time and effort to, before moving on to something else. I do see a comment about multiple narrators in a current story. Um, I will say, like, while that's not possible right now, it's certainly something the team is very, very aware of and thinks a lot about, and is definitely looking into. Obviously, everything that you guys want are things that we are all like, we want that so badly for everyone. And I think it goes to POV, obviously. If you want a first person POV and you want to be switching POV, how do you do that? And obviously being able to have multiple narrators would really help. So it's a really good comment and one that we're definitely thinking a lot about. Alrighty. Yeah. If anyone has any other editorial related questions, story related questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I see this question. I need advice for the best word count range that is comfortable for listeners to maintain retention. And I believe we say 1,200 to 1,600. Wait. Let me confirm I have the right. Okay, that's right. Or yeah, 1,500 to 1,600 words. And you'll see different point of views on that. I say make it shorter and snappier, and that's what interests me, but not everyone is the same. I think it depends on genre as well. I think we tend to see that in romance and drama, that those chapters can be a little longer, and I believe sci-fi a little shorter. And then there was another part of that question. Yeah, so the point of view thing is also something. I think we tend to say whatever you believe works best for your particular project. There are pros and cons of each, of whether to do first-person POV or third-person POV. First-person POV can be extra engaging, obviously, right off the bat. And it's challenging, as we know, without having multiple narrator possibilities. Third person allows you a little more breathing room as you expand your world. But at the same time, if I myself as a writer, I write exclusively in first person. Every time I've tried to write in third person, it doesn't sound very good. So I think really listening to yourself and not trying to force yourself in one direction or another, knowing that at Pocket right now, we don't have a preferred POV to advise on. Okay, great. Thank you all for these awesome questions.
Pocket FM. Something big just dropped at Pocket FM. An exclusive invite-only club for our top-performing authors. Meet our hand-picked VIP authors who've earned their spot. Perks like never before. Distinguishing VIP badge. Spotlight showcase. Priority contracting. Exclusive bonuses and rewards. Early access to new features and tools. These authors didn't just write stories. They created magic. You could be next. Keep writing, keep creating. Something big just dropped at Pocket FM. An exclusive invite-only club for our top-performing authors. Meet our hand-picked VIP authors who've earned their spot. perks like never before, distinguishing VIP badge, spotlight showcase, priority contracting, exclusive bonuses and rewards, early access to new features and tools. These authors didn't just write stories, they created magic. You could be next. Keep writing, keep creating.